What if I told you that some of the most powerful nutrients for hair growth aren't in expensive supplements or shampoos, but in simple fruits you can buy anywhere? And what's even more surprising is that these fruits don't just help your hair grow faster, they nourish the scalp at a cellular level where hair loss actually begins. Hair growth is not just about protein or genetics. It's about micronutrients, antioxidants, circulation, and hormone balance. Your hair follicles are some of the most metabolically active tissues in the body, which means they're extremely sensitive to nutrient deficiencies. When your body is low on key vitamins and minerals, hair growth is one of the first things to slow down. Let's start with vitamin C, because without it, hair growth becomes almost impossible. Vitamin C is essential for collagen production, and collagen forms the structural framework of the hair shaft and the scalp. Citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, and grapefruit are loaded with vitamin C, but here's the key point most people miss. Vitamin C also dramatically improves iron absorption. Low iron is one of the most common hidden causes of hair thinning, especially in people who feel tired or cold easily. When you eat vitamin C-rich fruits with meals, you're helping your body deliver oxygen to hair follicles more efficiently. Now let's talk about berries, especially blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. These fruits are packed with antioxidants that protect hair follicles from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress damages the tiny blood vessels that supply nutrients to the scalp. When circulation drops, hair follicles shrink, and that's when hair becomes thinner and weaker. Berries help protect those follicles and keep the scalp environment healthy. They also support insulin sensitivity, which is critical because high insulin levels can trigger hair loss through hormonal imbalance. Avocados are technically a fruit, and they're one of the best foods you can eat for your scalp. Avocados are rich in biotin, potassium, and healthy fats. Biotin supports keratin production, which is the primary protein in hair. Potassium helps improve circulation, and healthy fats support hormone balance. A dry, itchy scalp is often a sign of fat-soluble vitamin deficiency, and avocados help solve that problem naturally. Papaya is another powerful but overlooked fruit for hair growth. Papaya contains enzymes that support digestion and nutrient absorption. If you're eating healthy but not absorbing nutrients properly, your hair will still suffer. Papaya is also rich in vitamin A, which helps regulate sebum production on the scalp. Too little sebum leads to dryness, and too much can clog follicles. Vitamin helps maintain that balance so hair follicles stay open and active. Bananas are often underestimated when it comes to hair health. They are rich in silica, a trace mineral that strengthens hair and improves thickness. The silica helps the body use calcium properly, which supports hair structure and reduces breakage. Bananas also support adrenal health, and chronic stress is a major contributor to hair loss. When stress hormones stay elevated, hair growth shifts into a resting phase. Kiwi is another fruit that deserves attention. It contains more vitamin C per serving than oranges, and also provides vitamin E, which improves scalp circulation. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching the hair follicle. Kiwi also supports immune balance, which is important because inflammatory scalp conditions can interfere with normal hair growth cycles. Now here's something important to understand. Fruit alone won't fix hair loss if your diet is high in sugar, refined carbohydrates, or processed foods. Excess sugar depletes zinc and B vitamins, two nutrients that hair follicles desperately need. The key is using fruit strategically, not constantly snacking on it. Pair fruit with protein or healthy fats to stabilize blood sugar and maximize nutrient absorption. If you're dealing with hair thinning, slow growth, or excessive shedding, start paying attention to what your scalp is actually missing. Fruits provide bioavailable vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and antioxidants that work together in ways supplements often can't replicate. When the scalp environment improves, hair growth follows naturally. If this information was helpful, make sure to support your body with nutrient-dense foods and give your hair follicles what they need to thrive. Hair growth begins at a very deep cellular level, and this is where fruit plays a much bigger role than most people realize. When we talk about fruit supporting hair growth, we're not talking about sugar, calories. We're talking about very specific nutrients that directly influence collagen production, iron absorption, circulation, and the overall health of the scalp. If any one of these systems breaks down, hair follicles suffer almost immediately. Let's start with collagen, because hair cannot grow properly without it. Collagen forms the structural support for the skin and scalp. including the tiny pockets that hold each hair follicle in place. As we age, collagen production naturally declines, and this leads to weaker hair shafts, slower growth, and increased shedding. Vitamin C is one of the most critical nutrients for collagen synthesis, and the body cannot store it. That means you need a steady supply from food. Fruits like oranges, lemons, limes, kiwi, strawberries, and papaya are loaded with vitamin C in a form your body can easily use. Without enough vitamin C, even if you're eating enough protein, your body simply cannot assemble collagen efficiently, and hair becomes thinner and more fragile over time. Now here's something that's often overlooked. Vitamin C doesn't just help make collagen. It also protects existing collagen from damage. Hair follicles are constantly exposed to oxidative stress from environmental toxins, poor diet, inflammation, and stress hormones. Vitamin C acts as a powerful antioxidant that shields the scalp tissue from this damage. When oxidative stress is reduced, hair follicles stay in the active growth phase longer, which directly improves hair density. Another critical function of fruit is its role in iron absorption. Iron is responsible for carrying oxygen in the blood, and hair follicles are extremely sensitive to oxygen levels. When iron is low, oxygen delivery to the scalp drops, and hair follicles respond by slowing growth or entering a resting phase. Many people technically consume enough iron, but they don't absorb it well. This is especially common in people with digestive issues or high stress levels. Vitamin C from fruit dramatically enhances iron absorption, especially from plant-based sources. When vitamin C binds to iron in the digestive tract, it converts it into a form that's much easier for the body to absorb and transport to the scalp. This is one of the reasons hair loss is so common in people who feel fatigued, lightheaded, or short of breath. Their hair follicles are literally being starved of oxygen. Adding vitamin C-rich fruit to meals can significantly improve iron utilization and restore proper oxygen flow to the scalp. Once oxygen delivery improves, hair follicles regain the energy they need to produce strong, healthy strands. Circulation is another major piece of the puzzle. Hair follicles rely on a dense network of tiny blood vessels to deliver nutrients and remove waste. Poor circulation means nutrients never reach the follicle, no matter how healthy your diet is. Many fruits contain compounds that support blood vessel health and improve circulation at the microvascular level. Berries, citrus fruits, and kiwi are especially effective because they contain bioflavonoids that strengthen capillary walls and improve blood flow. When circulation improves, the scalp becomes warmer, more oxygenated, and better nourished, creating the ideal environment for hair growth. Let's talk about inflammation, because chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the most common hidden causes of hair thinning. Inflammation damages the scalp tissue and disrupts the hair growth cycle. Fruits provide anti-inflammatory compounds that help calm this process naturally. Polyphenols, flavonoids, and carotenoids found in colorful fruits work together to reduce inflammatory signals in the body. When inflammation drops, hair follicles are less likely to prematurely enter the shedding phase. Digestion also plays a major role in how fruit supports hair growth. You can eat the healthiest foods in the world, but if your digestion is compromised, your hair will still suffer. Certain fruits contain natural enzymes that support digestion and nutrient absorption. Papaya, for example, enzymes that help break down proteins and improve mineral absorption. Better digestion means more zinc, iron, and amino acids reach the hair follicles where they are needed most. Another often missed benefit of fruit is hydration at the cellular level. The scalp needs adequate hydration to maintain flexibility and proper oil balance. Dehydrated scalp tissue becomes tight, flaky, and less supportive of hair growth. Fruits contain structured water along with electrolytes like potassium, which help hydrate cells more effectively than plain water alone. This improved hydration supports scalp elasticity and reduces breakage at the root. Now, let's address blood sugar, because this is where fruit gets misunderstood. Excess sugar can absolutely contribute to hair loss, but whole fruits behave very differently than refined sugar. Whole fruits contain fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients that slow sugar absorption and reduce insulin spikes when eaten properly. Stable blood sugar is essential for hormone balance, and hormonal imbalance is one of the biggest drivers of hair loss. When insulin levels stay elevated, it can interfere with nutrient delivery and trigger inflammatory pathways that damage hair follicles. Fruit also supports adrenal health, which is critical for managing stress. Chronic stress pushes hair follicles into a resting phase and increases shedding. Fruits rich in vitamin C help regulate cortisol levels and support the adrenal glands. When stress hormones stabilize, hair growth can resume more normally. One more important point is scalp immunity. The scalp has its own immune environment. And when it becomes dysregulated, conditions like excessive shedding or poor regrowth can occur. Fruits provide immune-supportive nutrients that help maintain balance without overstimulating the immune system. This is especially important for people dealing with inflammatory scalp conditions that interfere with normal hair cycling. The key takeaway here is that fruit supports hair growth by working on multiple systems at once. It improves collagen production so hair has a strong structural foundation. It enhances iron absorption so oxygen reaches the follicle. It improves circulation so nutrients are delivered efficiently. It reduces oxidative stress and inflammation that damage follicles. And it supports digestion, hydration, stress regulation, and immune balance, all of which directly affect hair growth. When these systems are supported consistently, the scalp becomes a healthy environment where hair can grow thicker, stronger, and more resilient. Hair loss doesn't happen overnight, and neither does regrowth. But when you give your body the right tools through nutrient-dense fruits used strategically, you're addressing hair loss at the root cause, not just the symptoms. When we talk about certain fruits nourishing hair follicles, we're really talking about how the foods influence the biology of the scalp and the hair growth cycle itself. Hair doesn't thin or fall out randomly. It responds to oxidative stress, hormone shifts, nutrient deficiencies, and structural weakness in the hair shaft. Fruits like berries, avocado, papaya, banana, and kiwi work on these exact mechanisms, each in a slightly different but complementary way. Let's begin with oxidative stress, because this is one of the most underestimated drivers of hair thinning. Every hair follicle is a miniature factory that requires energy, oxygen, and protection from damage, free radicals generated from poor diet, pollution, inflammation, and chronic stress attack these follicles and disrupt their ability to stay in the growth phase. Berries are especially powerful here. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries are loaded with polyphenols and anthocyanins, compounds that neutralize free radicals before they can damage follicle cells. When oxidative stress is reduced, hair follicles are far more likely to stay active instead of prematurely shutting down. Berries also protect the tiny blood vessels that feed the scalp. These capillaries are extremely delicate, and when they're damaged, nutrient delivery drops. Hair follicles then shrink in size, producing thinner and weaker strands. The antioxidants in berries strengthen capillary walls and improve blood flow, which directly enhances nutrient and oxygen delivery to the scalp. This is one of the reasons people who consume antioxidant-rich diets often notice improved hair density over TI. Now let's talk about avocado, because this fruit addresses one of the biggest issues behind hair loss, hormonal imbalance. Avocados are rich in healthy monounsaturated fats, which are essential for hormone production and regulation. Hair follicles are highly sensitive to hormonal signals, especially those related to insulin and stress hormones. When hormones are out of balance, hair growth slows and shedding increases. The fats in avocado help stabilize blood sugar and support the production of hormones that keep hair follicles in the growth phase. Avocados are also a natural source of biotin, a B vitamin that supports keratin production. Keratin is the primary structural protein in hair. Without adequate biotin, hair becomes brittle and prone to breakage, even if it's still growing at the root. What makes biotin from whole foods like avocado especially effective is that it comes packaged with other supportive nutrients, including vitamin E and magnesium, which enhance its absorption and function. Vitamin E in avocado deserves special attention. This nutrient improves circulation to the scalp and helps repair damaged tissue. Better circulation means better nutrient delivery, and healthier scalp tissue means stronger anchoring of hair follicles. This combination supports thicker, more resilient hair growth over time. Papaya works in a completely different but equally important way. One of the most overlooked causes of hair loss is poor digestion and nutrient absorption. You can eat all the right foods, but if your digestive system isn't breaking them down properly, your hair follicles won't receive what they need. Papaya contains natural digestive enzymes that support protein digestion and mineral absorption. Hair is made primarily of protein. So if protein isn't being broken down into usable amino acids, hair growth will suffer. Papaya is also rich in vitamin A, which helps regulate sebum production on the scalp. Sebum is the natural oil that keeps the scalp moisturized and protected. Too little sebum leads to dryness and irritation, while too much can clog hair follicles and interfere with growth. Vitamin A helps maintain this balance so follicles remain clear and functional. This balanced scalp environment is essential for consistent hair growth. Bananas play a key role in strengthening hair and reducing breakage. They are a good source of silica, a trace mineral that supports hair thickness and elasticity. Silica helps the body utilize calcium properly, which contributes to stronger hair structure. Hair that breaks easily often isn't a growth problem, it's a structural weakness problem. Bananas help address this by reinforcing the hair shaft from within. Bananas also support adrenal health and stress regulation. Chronic stress pushes hair follicles into a resting phase, leading to increased shedding. The nutrients in bananas, including vitamin B6 and potassium, help regulate stress hormones and support the nervous system. When stress levels stabilize, hair follicles are more likely to re-enter the growth phase and remain there longer. Potassium in bananas also supports circulation by helping regulate fluid balance and blood pressure. Improved circulation ensures that nutrients reach the scalp efficiently. A poorly nourished scalp cannot sustain strong hair growth, no matter how good the rest of the diet is. Kiwi is another fruit that provides unique benefits for hair follicles. It contains exceptionally high levels of vitamin C, even more than many citrus fruits. As we discussed earlier, vitamin C supports collagen production and iron absorption, both of which are essential for hair growth. But kiwi also contains vitamin E and copper, which play important roles in maintaining hair color, follicle health. Copper supports melanin production, the pigment responsible for hair color. While hair graying is influenced by many factors, nutrient deficiencies can accelerate the process. Adequate copper intake supports healthy pigmentation and overall follicle vitality. Kiwi also supports immune balance, which is critical for maintaining a healthy scalp environment. An overactive or underactive immune response in the scalp can disrupt normal hair growth cycles. Another important function of these fruits is their ability to support insulin sensitivity. High insulin levels are closely linked to hair loss, especially in people with metabolic stress. When insulin remains elevated, it interferes with nutrient D, delivery, and increases inflammatory signals that damage hair follicles. Berries, kiwi, and avocado help stabilize blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity, reducing one of the major metabolic triggers of hair thinning. These fruits also help reduce chronic inflammation, which quietly damages hair follicles over time. Inflammation shortens the growth phase of hair and increases shedding. The anti-inflammatory compounds found in colorful fruits help calm this process and protect follicle integrity. When inflammation is reduced, hair follicles have a better chance of completing their full growth cycle. Another overlooked benefit is how these fruits support the scalp's microbiome. A healthy scalp has a balanced ecosystem of microorganisms that protect against irritation and inflammation. Nutrient-dense fruits provide compounds that support this balance indirectly. By improving immune regulation and reducing oxidative stress, a healthier scalp environment leads to more consistent hair growth. The synergy between these fruits is what makes them so powerful. Berries protect follicles from damage. Avocado supports hormones and healthy fats. Papaya improves digestion and nutrient absorption. Banana strengthens hair structure and reduces stress. And kiwi enhances circulation and collagen production. Together, they address the root causes of hair thinning rather than just the symptoms. When hair follicles receive proper nourishment, reduced oxidative stress, balanced hormones, and trunk structural support, they function the way they were designed to. Hair grows thicker, sheds less, and maintains its strength over time. This is why focusing on specific fruits that nourish follicles at multiple levels can make a meaningful difference in hair health when used consistently as part of a nutrient-dense diet. When it comes to hair growth, one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that eating more fruit automatically means better results. The truth is, fruit can either support hair growth or quietly work against it, depending on how it's used. The difference comes down to strategy, blood sugar control, and overall nutrient balance. Hair follicles are extremely sensitive to metabolic stress, and how you consume fruit determines whether those follicles receive nourishment or disruption. Let's start with blood sugar because this is the foundation of everything. Every hair follicle depends on a stable energy supply. When blood sugar spikes and crashes repeatedly, hair follicles experience stress signals that push them out of the growth phase and into the resting phase. This is why people with insulin resistance, frequent sugar cravings, or energy crashes often struggle with hair thinning. Fruit, when eaten incorrectly, can contribute to this problem. When eaten strategically, it can actually help stabilize blood sugar. Whole fruit behaves very differently than refined sugar, juice, or dried fruit. Whole fruit contains fiber, water, and micronutrients that slow glucose absorption. But even whole fruit can spike blood sugar if eaten alone in large amounts or too frequently throughout the day. Strategic fruit intake means pairing fruit with protein or healthy fats. This slows digestion, reduces insulin spikes, and allows nutrients to be delivered to hair follicles without triggering metabolic stress. Insulin plays a direct role in hair loss. Chronically elevated insulin interferes with zinc absorption, disrupts hormone balance, and increases inflammation. Zinc is essential for hair follicle repair and growth, and when insulin stays high, zinc levels drop. This creates a perfect storm for hair thinning. Strategic fruit intake helps avoid this cycle by keeping insulin levels stable while still delivering hair supportive nutrients. Other critical aspect of strategy is timing. Hair follicles are more resilient when the body is metabolically calm. Consuming fruit with meals rather than as constant snacks helps prevent repeated insulin spikes. This allows the body to use fruit nutrients for repair and growth rather than damage control. Many people snack on fruit all day thinking it's healthy, but this constant grazing keeps insulin elevated and quietly sabotages hair growth. Now let's talk about the scalp environment, because hair doesn't grow in isolation. It grows from living tissue that needs proper circulation, hydration, and immune balance. A healthy scalp environment depends on adequate micronutrients, but also on the absence of chronic inflammation. When blood sugar is unstable, inflammation increases, and the scalp becomes less hospitable to hair growth. Strategic fruit intake reduces inflammatory signals instead of fueling them. Fruit also interacts with hormone balance in powerful ways. Hair follicles respond strongly to hormones like insulin, cortisol, and thyroid hormones. When these hormones are out of balance, hair growth slows or stops. Excess sugar, even from natural sources, can increase cortisol and disrupt thyroid function over time. Strategic fruit intake supports hormonal balance by preventing excessive sugar load while still providing nutrients that support hormone production and regulation. Thyroid health is especially important for hair growth. The thyroid controls metabolic rate, and hair follicles require adequate metabolic energy to stay in the growth phase. Blood sugar instability can impair thyroid hormone conversion, reducing the active form of thyroid hormone available to tissues. Fruits rich in antioxidants and micronutrients support thyroid function when consumed properly, but excess sugar intake does the opposite. Micronutrient balance is another key factor. Hair follicles need zinc, iron, magnesium, copper, selenium, and B vitamins to function properly. Fruit provides some of these, but not all. This is why fruit must be part of a balanced diet, not the foundation of it. When people rely too heavily on fruit while neglecting protein, minerals, and healthy fats, hair growth suffers. Strategic fruit intake means using fruit as a supportive tool, not a replacement. For nutrient-dense whole foods, protein is especially important here. Hair is primarily made of keratin, a protein structure. Without adequate protein intake, no amount of fruit will stimulate hair growth. Pairing fruit with protein improves amino acid availability and stabilizes blood sugar at the same time. This combination creates the ideal internal environment for hair follicles. To grow strong, resilient strands, healthy fats are equally critical. Fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K play major roles in scalp health and hair growth. Many fruits contain vitamins that require fat for proper absorption. Eating fruit alongside healthy fats improves nutrient uptake and ensures those vitamins actually reach the scalp. This is one of the reasons fruit consumed with meals is far more effective than fruit eaten alone. Another overlooked factor is gut health. Hair growth depends heavily on nutrient absorption, and the gut is where this process begins. Excess sugar, even from fruit, can disrupt gut bacteria balance if consumed improperly. This can impair nutrient absorption and increase inflammation, both of which negatively impact hair follicles. Strategic fruit intake supports gut health rather than stressing it. Fiber from fruit plays a role here as well. Fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which help regulate inflammation and improve nutrient absorption. But fiber works best when intake is balanced. Too much fruit fiber without enough protein and fats can lead to digestive stress. Balance is key. Let's also talk about frequency. Hair follicles respond to long-term patterns, not short-term changes. Eating fruit occasionally and strategically supports hair growth over time. Constantly consuming fruit smoothies, juices, or fruit-heavy meals create chronic metabolic stress that hair follicles interpret as a threat. When the body senses stress, hair growth is deprioritized in favor of survival functions. Another important aspect is mineral depletion. Excess sugar increases the excretion of minerals like magnesium and zinc through urine. These minerals are critical for hair growth and scalp health. Strategic fruit intake avoids excessive sugar load and helps preserve these minerals instead of depleting them. Hydration is another benefit of fruit when used correctly. Fruits contain structured water and electrolytes that support cellular hydration. A well-hydrated scalp is more flexible, less inflamed, and better able to support hair growth. But again, balance matters. Hydration from fruit should complement, not replace, proper fluid and mineral intake. Stress regulation ties everything together. Chronic stress is one of the strongest triggers for hair shedding. Stress elevates cortisol, disrupts blood sugar, and impairs nutrient absorption. Fruits rich in vitamin C support adrenal health and help regulate stress hormones, but only when sugar intake is controlled. Strategic fruit intake supports stress resilience instead of adding another stressor. The most important takeaway here is that hair growth depends on the internal environment you create every day. Fruits can either contribute to that environment or undermine it. When eaten strategically, fruit supports stable blood sugar, balanced hormones, reduced inflammation, healthy digestion, and optimal nutrient delivery to the scalp. When eaten without strategy, fruit can quietly disrupt these same systems. Hair follicles thrive on consistency. They need steady energy, reliable nutrient delivery, and minimal stress signals. Strategic fruit intake provides exactly that. It allows you to harness the benefits of nature's nutrients without triggering the metabolic chaos that leads to hair thinning. When fruit is used as part of a balanced, nutrient-dense approach that prioritizes blood sugar control and overall micronutrient balance, the scalp becomes a supportive environment for hair growth. Over time, this leads to stronger roots, reduced shedding, healthier, more resilient hair.